Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
If you're gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Why, hey there, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 257 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I really do appreciate you making my podcast one of them. Podcast today is all about, are you over Instagram? If you're over Instagram at the moment, there's a few things I'd like you to do before you decide to shut down and run away from the Instagram platform. If you're not over Instagram, keep listening. There's still a couple of little tips and tricks in here for you, but episodes come from a discussion that I had with a client. Now, if I'm sounding a little bit different, I'm actually in a motel room. I haven't got my professional microphone with me, so I'm doing it with my earphones because you know what? We are entrepreneurs and we just do things when we have to do them. And today is podcast day and I just have to do it. Of course, you can find all the links and show notes for this particular podcast in my website at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/257. And did you get a chance to listen to last week's episode? My amazing guest, Amy Bett, spoke to us about finances, but also the profit first model, which can be business changing as opposed to life changing, although I guess it can be both life changing and business changing. So if you haven't listened to that episode, flick back when you finish this one and listen to episode 256 over there. Of course, a shout out to this week's sponsor, Saladash. Saladash develops high-quality e-commerce apps and modules to boost profit, increase conversion, and save you time. They have the best Shopify sellers apps for your Shopify store. So if you have a Shopify store, come back to me here now and take a bit of a listen. Or if you know someone who has, point them to Saladash because their apps will actually buy them time. So basically buy them time by taking away their pain of printing Australia Post labels. It'll literally save you 90% of the time you spend creating manual labels. So head over to Saladash. You can find them at saladash.io, or of course, come and have a look at the link in the show notes. So this episode, Are You Over Instagram? Do This First, was actually inspired by a conversation I had a couple of weeks ago with a past client who is, frankly, over Instagram. And in fact, when I say they're over Instagram, they don't want to be on Instagram. They don't believe their client is on Instagram. And I probably tend to agree with them in some ways. And they really want to concentrate on another platform, although they have had an Instagram presence of sorts in the past. So they're over the lack of engagement. They're over the lack of lead generation ease and the constant need for brand new content. So like I said, they're just going to concentrate on another platform, which, depending on your strategy, is probably a fairly good strategy. So although I'm kind of like in the same place where perhaps, not that I'm over Instagram, but maybe it's time to concentrate and go all in on another platform. I think that's a bit of a discussion for a podcast later on this year. And so I'm not saying with this episode to get off Instagram, but what I am saying is let's look at what you can do if you are over it, or perhaps you're not even on it, but you really just don't want to get on it as such. Or maybe you have been on it and your business Instagram handle is looking pretty lonely over there because you've kind of neglected it. So the conversation that sparked this particular episode, like I said, was with a past client who basically said to me, "Hey Jen, I came across your Small Business Made Simple podcast Instagram profile the other day. What's that sorcery magic that you've done with your grid over there? And why have you got a grid that looks like that?" Now, I have to admit, I wasn't even sure what she meant. So we dialed it up and had a bit of a look. Here's the thing. My Instagram account, my Jen Donovan underscore business account, used to be called Small Business Made Simple, which of course is the name of the podcast you're listening to right now. And in fact, prior to that, I was actually Jen Donovan, no underscore, but I gave it up, changed it into the podcast name. And so now I have an underscore under my name, which I'm a little bit sad about. But anyway, get over that. But about 2 years ago, so my Instagram account is called Small Business Made Simple. And about 2 years ago, I renamed it into my own name, Jen Donovan underscore, which is, what of course you see right now. But I didn't want anyone else to have the handle of Small Business Made Simple because, I'm building an empire here with this podcast. People like yourself listen in and, it had cred to it. So I didn't want anyone else to have the handle. So I made a new account and called it Small Business Made Simple. So I could actually just claim it. So originally I was posting to the Small Business Made Simple handle and I was posting to the Jen Donovan handle, and that got really old really quickly. Doing my head in. So I decided to make my Small Business Made Simple Instagram account what I would call like a stagnant account, which means I no longer posted to it. And its only purpose was really to hold the handle so no one else could have it. But what I was also really aware of was that people might find it, not many people, because if you have a look, it's only got 271 followers, which really proves my point that if you want to grow, you need to be consistent and you need to show up. But that's not my point here. I digress. But if people did find it, I had to make sure that it represented my brand and it still had the opportunity to drive traffic to my podcast, my website, or even me. So if you go there to Small Business Made Simple, you will see that I have a grid set up that all kind of works in together. It's like a puzzle piece. Well, it's not really a puzzle piece, but it's maybe 12 or 16 posts that all kind of interconnect together. And for me, it almost works like a landing page of what the podcast is about, what I'm about, and what business is about. So almost like a stagnant website, if you like to think about it like that. My bio in that particular like under that Instagram account points to me as the person who runs the podcast. So, at Jen Donovan underscore, there's a link to that. And there's a link also to all the goodness that the Jen Donovan account has. So my link to my link tree is also there. Of course, I must say that if I redid the landing page effect, these days, I'd probably do it slightly differently because when I did it ages ago, we didn't have the ability to pin posts to the top of our Instagram, and we didn't really have the ability to, in fact, we didn't have the ability to do reels and things like that. So I might actually change my grid if I was doing it now and pin 2 or 3 posts, like change the pin posts a couple of times a year or something like that. I really don't know. And one day I might up my game, which, is the whole point of owning the handle is I get to do what I want with it because it's mine and no one else can get that handle, which is the whole purpose of having it. But for now, in the words of Farmer Hoggett, it'll do, pig. Like, it'll do the way it is now. I feel comfortable that it represents my brand. I feel comfortable that it's a lead generation thing all by itself if someone happens to land there. Again, looking at the data, not many people land there, but that's not actually my point. My point is if they do, it's good. I'm happy that if they land there. So what's my whole point with this? Well, my whole point is, I know there are a few people in my community that are over Instagram and that are concentrating on other platforms, but actually have Instagram accounts. So that could be you, or, you could have spare Instagram accounts as such. And, as I have often said, if you've been a follower or in my world for any length of time, everything you say and do says something about your business and you, regardless of whether or not you meant it to. So your neglected Instagram handle that might need some love, if not perhaps just 2 or 3 hours of love now, to never be touched again. So if that sounds like you, or if it's been a while since you've posted on your Instagram, or if you've given up Instagram to concentrate on LinkedIn and TikTok and you're no longer producing content for it, or maybe you've opened an Instagram account when you opened your business to claim the handle, but you've never actually used it. And never actually posted anything about it, and yet it is a business account as opposed to a personal account, then what is that telling your audience? If and when they find it, because there's every chance as you build your brand that people will go looking for you on different platforms. So if any of the above is true, you've got an account, you've neglected account, you opened one, but you've never ever done anything about it, then I would highly recommend that you take this neglected Instagram account and make it into more of like a landing page or a web page feel, highlighting you and your services and maybe updating the bio to point to you or point them to some direction to help them go deeper into your world. Like I said, not many people are probably going to find this account because, it is true, you need to be consistent, you need to show up and all of that to keep building your numbers, even against the force of the algorithm. But if they do find your account, don't you want them to have a really good experience for what might just take you a couple of hours in the next day or so to actually build a good experience for them? Now, when I did this many years ago, and look, it must be 2 or 3 years ago that I did this now. Um, so what I actually did for my small business Instagram account, I archived, not deleted. I archived all the posts that were against the account to create that blank canvas. Because, like I said, I was posting to it and then I got over it. And I can't just keep posting to both Instagram accounts. So I went in, I archived all the posts, don't delete them, start with a blank canvas. And then I went and I purchased an Instagram grid template from Creative Market all the way back then. Although you might find these days that there's actually templates on Canva that you could actually do for free. But or you might even be genius enough to create your own as such. Or maybe you're just going to do the three at the top and just have a grid at the top that, points them to a different direction or gives them a really great experience, and you'll pin those to the top, whatever that looks like for you. So Creative Market, of course, is creativemarket.com. Canva is canva.com. This is really just a super cheap, goodness me, a super short episode. But I really hope that this is one that makes you think outside the square when it comes to your neglected Instagram accounts, because there must be a heap of them out there and people are not having good experiences when they come across them. And we're marketers. We are in marketing because we're in business, and we want people to always have a good experience when they come across our handles, come across our socials, come across our stuff. So this is one of the ways that you can help them have a really good experience. And I hope that when you're listening and you remember that everything you say and everything you do says something about you, regardless of whether or not you mean it to. And this includes, of course, your sad and lonely Instagram account that is over there. So for me, this is a great idea also if you want to claim some handles for your business, but you're not ready to create content for them, or if you have a future business idea and you want to secure the Instagram handle for it or Instagram handles for it, you can set something like this out, like a bit of a stagnant landing page / small website, whatever you would like to call it, that just basically gives people a good experience and gives them somewhere else to go. Think of it as like a 404 page. So if you go to Google and you type something in and that page doesn't exist, you get a 404 error page. Like that again, that's probably a whole different podcast episode, but that again is something that is like a marketing opportunity. They've landed on a page that doesn't exist. What now? You want to give them somewhere else to go. You want to give them a good experience with that. So, something like Lego or I think MailChimp, they have really good 404 landing pages. I know this because I've just written about it in my new marketing book that's coming out. But your sad and lonely Instagram account is just like that. It's kind of like a 404 error that they've found on Instagram, and you want to give them a good experience with that. So think outside the Instagram square. My sweet, sweet listener, that is all I want you to do today. I hope this helps you think bigger when it comes to your Instagram and think about those accounts that perhaps you've neglected and what you could actually do to them to make them part of your lead generation strategy inside your business. If you'd like to continue this chat, that would be awesome. Come inside my Facebook group, Like Minded Business Owners. The link's in the show notes, or of course, just go to Facebook and type in Like Minded Business Owners and come over there and join. But that is all I've got for episode 257. If you love this episode and found it valuable, I would love for you to take 30 seconds out of your day and leave me a rating and a review of that. Yeah, that would be awesome. Thanks so much in advance. And I will, of course, see you back here on the podcast for episode 258. Thanks again to Saladash for sponsoring today's episode. If you're looking for an amazing time-saving Shopify app, then check out Saladash at saladash.io. But in the meantime, let's hang out on social and get social on social if we're not already. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, LinkedIn. But whatever you do, remember my small business peep. As my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.